Here's the honest truth. The top 1% of women, the ones building empires, legacies, and joyful lives, don't do more. They do 5 things differently. I've learned these exact 5 habits firsthand and coached dozens of women to go from overwhelmed to success using these habits. So in this video, I'm going to show you the critical habits that'll help you effortlessly be more wealthy, healthy, and productive. So imagine trying to charge your phone without the charger being plugged into the outlet. You keep waiting, hoping that it will power up, but nothing actually changes because the source is empty. That's what happens when we prioritize work over our well-being and our people. Top 1% women don't hustle harder. They plug into what actually fuels them: rest, joy, and real connection. So here's how you can apply this to your own life. So let me draw this out for you. If we want to become a top 1% woman, we're going to have to go from burned out to grounded. And we're going to do this by prioritizing self and our family. The key is the habit of prioritizing ourselves and family because it helps us to let go of toxic productivity. Because we aren't machines, we have to prioritize what actually fuels us. Take the top 1% woman, Serena Williams, for example. She retired from tennis at her peak to focus on her family and her VC firm and showed us that having it all means you defined your own success. She also advocates for maternal health and work-life balance without guilt. Even I had to change the way that I hustled when I became a mother. Push through and coffee were no longer cutting it when I also have kids and a husband that I want to show up for as well. Which is why I actually developed my 3-7 time blocking method that helps me make time for myself and family, but also my ambitions. I actually also just did an entire workshop, which I will suggest as a tool called Sprinkling Your Life, which I will link at the end of this video, that walks you through my strategies for balancing home life and goals as an ambitious woman. So I'll put that Spring Clean workshop as your tool. But creating the foundation for your success is just the beginning of becoming a top 1% woman. Next, I'll show you a habit that will create life-changing wealth and financial security. So imagine sitting down at a high-stakes game, but no one ever taught you the rules. The chips are real, the risks are high, and everyone else seems to be playing with confidence. That's what it feels like to navigate life without financial literacy. You might be smart, you might be capable in even making money, but without understanding the game, you'll always be behind. Top 1% women don't leave their freedom to chance. They learn the rules and then they play to win. So let me go back to our little diagram here. This next habit is going to help you go from money mismanagement, financial dependency, and scarcity mindset to financial abundance. And the habit that's going to get you there is financial literacy. Simply getting into the habit of constantly learning about money, how it works, and how to optimize your own finances can take you from this mismanagement, dependency, and scarcity to that financial abundance. Take Melody Hobb, for example, a top 1% woman and co-CEO of Ariel Investments, who is a champion of financial literacy, especially for women and people of color. She actually just wrote a fabulous children's book about money and was recently on Emma Greed's podcast, another 1% woman that I love, championing women getting to know their numbers. Because here's the thing, freedom looks like knowing your numbers. You can be rich in income and poor in power, and the 1% woman learns the game. She knows her numbers, she invests, she saves and builds, not just earns, because money isn't just math, it's leverage, and she refuses to be left behind. This was something I had to learn the hard way, especially when I first started making a lot of money. I had these blocks and traumas that made it difficult for me to get into the details of money, and it wasn't until I faced these limiting beliefs that I actually committed to learning everything that I could about money, and that's when it actually started to compound for me. And the tool that I have for you to up your money game is my money magnet reading list. So I will link that for free in the description below. It's a list of books that really helped me learn a lot about financial literacy and in turn helped me become more financially abundant. Okay, so now you know your numbers and I love that for you, but this next habit is going to level you up even more by helping you turn your dreams into reality. So you've probably heard the phrase, build the plane while you're flying it. And that's exactly what a top 1% woman does. She doesn't have it all figured out before she takes off. She launches, adjusts, recalibrates mid-air because what matters most is getting off the ground. Taking us back to our circle, many times what stops us from reaching that top 1% level is perfectionism, fear, and paralysis. And this next habit is going to help you go from all of that to actually building momentum. And the habit that's going to actually help you get there is prioritizing action. Because what we need to be at our highest level is actual momentum towards our biggest goals, and prioritizing actions, even if we're scared, is going to help us build that momentum. So I remember when I started my first business, my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, had taken me on a vacation to France, and we were staying in this old French castle. And I'll never forget, because the setting was so distinct, I woke up from my sleep early one morning, terrified with imposter syndrome, thinking, who am I to try to start a business? And while all kinds of anxious and intrusive thoughts tried to convince me to quit, there was this deeper knowing, this intuitive voice that stood up inside me, inside that castle, and said, whatever, girl, we're going to do this anyway. And right there in that moment, I learned that the power of following your dreams, even if you have to carry fear in the background and do things imperfectly, is so powerful. So take top 1% woman Issa Rae, for example. Issa Rae started with a web series shot in her apartment. She didn't wait for a deal or blueprint. She just took off. She started with a low budget YouTube series, Awkward Black Girl, and turned it into a media empire. She took messy, imperfect action and she grew in public. So let me tell you, perfection is a lie. Bold women move, speak, launch, and learn even when the path is unclear. And the tool that I have to help you with this habit is a book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. But here's the thing, even with this momentum, there are still those times when we find ourselves actually feeling stuck. This next habit will help you keep evolving and make it easy to fulfill your purpose. Think of yourself like the most powerful software. If you never update, you'll start lagging, not because you're broken, but because you've outgrown your old operating system. The top 1% woman knows that reinvention isn't optional, it's how you stay aligned with your power. And most importantly, it takes us from being stuck to evolved. And that's through the habit of becoming and constantly reinventing yourself. And of course, I couldn't do a video about top 1% women without mentioning my girl, the queen of reinvention, Beyonce. From Destiny's Child to solo icon to visual album pioneer to entrepreneur, she reinvents both her career and her identity without apology. And here's the thing, every version of you deserves her moment. If God is calling on a new version of you in order to continue walking in your purpose, she should not be suppressed because of fake boundaries you have placed on yourself based on who you used to be. Growth demands change, and top 1% women shed old labels and step into new arenas unapologetically. And fortunately for you, I created the perfect tool for reinventing yourself, which is my Mod Ambition Planner. Not only does it come with every type of planning page to help you implement your vision from quarterly, monthly, weekly, and daily, but it starts with a goal planner that gives you everything you need to do the vision work required to reinvent yourself. Now, the habits I've given you so far are enough to get you very close to being a top 1% woman, but this next one will really upgrade you. If you were a unicorn that walked into a room full of horses, it would feel awkward at first. You'd stand out, you move differently. But here's the thing, unicorns don't try to blend in. They were never meant to. Top 1% women know that their difference isn't a defect, it's her distinction. Listen to what top 1% woman Oprah Winfrey had to say about this.
Always the only woman in the room. Still walk in, only woman in the room. And there's a room full of white men, usually older. Thrills me, just thrills me. I just love it. Usually the only black person in the room. Also, never really concerned me because I don't look at people through color. I didn't get to be where I am by and who I am by looking at the color of people's skin. I really, literally took Martin Luther King at his word and understand that the content of a person's character and refuse to let anybody else do that to me. So I love it, just love it. And there's a wonderful phrase by Maya Angelou from a poem that she wrote called To Our Grandmothers that she says, "When I come as one, but I stand as 10,000." So when I walk into a room, and particularly before I have something really challenging to do, or I'm going to be in a circumstance where I feel I'm going to be, up against some difficulties, I will literally sit and I will call on that 10,000. I will call on the ancestors. I will call on those people who've come before me. I will call on the women who forged a path that I might be able to sit in the room with all of those white men and love it so much. I call on that because I know that my being where I am, and first of all, being who I am and where I am, it didn't come just out of myself. That I come from a heritage. And so I own that and I step into that room, not just as myself, but I bring all of that energy with me.
Oprah's success came from embracing her uniqueness and choosing excellence even in rooms where she was underestimated. So let me show you how to do this for yourself. So many times in the face of being different, we start dimming our light. But by embracing being a unicorn, actually, you start owning your power. You may be the first or only one like you, but don't shrink. Top 1% women use visibility as a form of leadership, actually. And a tool, a helpful book that you might find useful on imposter syndrome or overcoming imposter syndrome is this book called The Secret Thoughts of Successful Women. The thing is, even though you know the habits of top 1% women, there's another thing you need to master, because if you don't, it won't matter how many habits you know about, you won't be able to implement them. So I want you to watch this next video where I'll show you the secret to getting more done in 12 weeks than others do in 12 months. And be sure to check the description for all the links that I mentioned. And cheers to planning, manifesting, and enjoying your dream life. Namaste.